In the name of Allah, the most merciful and beneficent. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PMDC online lecture room. I am Shaista, lecturer in English. Dear students, in my previous lectures, I have discussed the introduction, story and the characters included in the William Shakespeare play King Lear. Our today's lecture consists of MCQs taken from the play King Lear, question answers, and at the end of the lecture there is assignment for you. Let's start from MCQs. MCQs number 1 is King Lear banishes dash from his kingdom. Gloucester, wagon, Kent, the fool. The right answer is Kent. King Lear banishes Kent from his kingdom. The next MCQs is Lear is the king of dash. Denmark, Britain, France, Ireland. The right answer is Britain. Lear is the king of Britain. Dash could not be considered evil. Gondrel, Burgundy, Edmund, Albany. Albany could not be considered evil because he is good at herd. The right answer is therefore Albany. Dash most closely parallel Cordelia. Edgar, Kent, Edmund, wagon. The right answer is Edgar. Edgar most closely parallel Cordelia. Edgar and Cordelia both are disinherited. Therefore, we consider both of them, Edgar and Cordelia, as parallel characters. The next MCQs is Dash refuses to marry Cordelia after she is disinherited. The options are Edmund, Burgundy, Kent, Albany. Burgundy is the person who refuses to marry Cordelia. Therefore, the right option is Burgundy. Dash is responsible for Regan's death. Gondrel, Kent, Edmund, Albany. Gondrel is responsible for Regan's death because she poisoned her sister Regan. Therefore, right answer is Gondrel. The next MCQ is Dash fights against the established social order. Cornwall, Kent, Edmund, wagon. Edmund fights against the established social order. The next one is Dash travels with Lear till the death. His fool, Cordelia, Edmund, Gondrel. His fool travels with Lear till the death, throughout the whole life. He is the person, he is fool. Then come to the question answers. Question number 1 is how many daughters King Lear had? What were their names? King Lear had 3 daughters. Their names were Gondrel, Wagon and Cordelia. Gondrel was the eldest daughter while Cordelia was the youngest daughter. Next question is, what did the old king decide to do before his death? The answer is, the old king decided to hand over his kingdom to his daughters before his death. The king was already into his 80s. Due to his old age, he was now tired of ruling the kingdom. He was completely exhausted, both physically and mentally. He therefore wanted to divide his kingdom among his daughters so that he could prepare himself for death peacefully. For this purpose, he called all his daughters one by one to interview them, to judge their loyalty for the duty of ruling his kingdom. Then the next question is, how did the king test the love and loyalty of his daughters? The king tested the love and the loyalty of his daughters by conducting an interview with them. He called all of his daughters one by one and asked them to tell him as to how much they loved him. He wanted to hear from their own tongues the love that they had for their old father. He intended to distribute his kingdom among his daughters in proportion to their expression of love for him. So, all his daughters came to him and expressed their love for their father, the king, Lear. Thus, the king tested the love and loyalty of his daughters on the basis of how they expressed themselves in front of him. Then the next question is, why did the king disinherit Cordelia, his youngest daughter, the more he loved the most of them? The answer is, the king disinherited Cordelia because she told her father very plainly that she loved him according to her duty to him, neither more nor less. She did not want to make use of flattery like her sister to please her father, though she was sincere, but her expression of love angered the old king. Actually, the king had always loved more than the other daughters. He did not expect from her this rudely formal expression of love for her father. Her sisters Gondrel and Ragan had made a highly exaggerated, though false, expression of love for the king. As a result, the king failed to perceive Cordelia's simple and humble but true love for him. Therefore, he decided to disinherit her. Then come to the next question. How did Gondrel and Ragan treat the old king, their father? The treatment of his two daughters, Gondrel and Ragan. Gondrel and Ragan treated the king, their father, very heartlessly and sympathetically after he had handed over all his kingdom to them. They proved highly ungrateful to their old father, who had given away even the crown of his head. Even a month had not yet passed that Gondrel started treating the king disrespectfully. She wanted to take everything away from her father now. She even jealous of the 100 knights that king had kept with him for his personal services. After getting fed up with Gondrel's this cruel and ungrateful behavior, the king decided to go to Ragan's to live with her. But she also proved equally cruel in her treatment of the king. She did not allow the poor king to stay with her. This highly insensitive and ungrateful treatment of the daughters hurt the old king. At the end of the lecture, there is assignment for you. Make 100 MCQs from the play King Lear. Dear students, I hope you understand my lecture, and the remaining question we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.